If you train men not to grow up to become rapists, you prevent rape.
You think you can stop? You think you can tell a rapist to stop doing what he's doing?
Yes.
Really?
You know what would be better? If we just taught young boys that rape isn't even an option.
The feminist alternative is to teach boys not to rape.
Teach men not to rape. Teach men not to rape. Teach men not to rape. Take off your clothes like Scarlett Johansson.
One of the most stupidest rhetorics I've ever heard is teach men not to rape, and this is for a multitude of different reasons, but the main reasons I want to focus on is 1. It assumes that all men are rapists who need to be taught that rape is a crime, thereby demonizing men and enforcing mass hysteria among women. 2. It teaches women not to defend themselves, thereby shifting the focus away from the necessary precautions which needs to be enforced to minimize rape. Rape is one of the most sensationalized topics covered in media. Every man, woman and children have come across news showing how big of a felony it is. People who are accused of rape get their asses fucked all across media. People who are proven to be rapists are liable to punishments ranging from imprisonment for over a decade to castration to death sentence to even public beheading. People who are falsely accused of rape get their reputation tarnished for the rest of their lives.
This police interview with a Fort Collins woman. She was later convicted for making phony rape accusations, and the man she accused was arrested and put in jail 1 year ago today.
Bennett later convicted of making it all up. She was sentenced to 35 days in jail, then an ankle monitor and probation.
I don't feel that's justice.
Toth says he's the one who's been punished. The Army National Guardsman lost his civilian job and was out of work for nearly 6 months after the arrest.
I feel like I'm incapable to actually trust a woman again.
This itself should tell you what the severity of having the word rape associated with you would be. Nobody with a brain still attached in their head is under the miscomprehension that rape is an acceptable thing to do, to give someone an opportunity to teach them that rape is unacceptable. And here's the thing which these people fail to recognize or choose to ignore. The thing about rapists who rape and murderers who murder and thieves who steal is that they know what they're doing is a crime, but they do it anyways because they don't care. And there might be a chance that teaching a criminal not to commit a crime will have some sort of an effect, but for the rest of them, not so much. And you don't have to believe me. RAINN, United States' largest anti-sexual violence organization, described the cause of rape to be as follows. Rape is not caused by the cultural factors but by the conscious decisions of a small percentage of the community to commit a violent crime. Furthermore, they highlighted that by the time students reach college, they've been exposed to 18 years of prevention messages in various forms. And majority of the students are capable of distinguishing the right from the wrong, and they also know that rape falls in the latter category. Moral of the story, life is not Dora the fucking Explorer for you to say,
rape is no raping! Rape is no raping! Rape is no!
Okay, with your consent, can I have sex with you?
No!
That's the spirit!
You were right, Axter! Tell me how to eliminate rape!
You can't. This is something which people need to understand. There is no way to eliminate rape. All you can do is minimize the probability of you getting raped by controlling certain factors which are under your control. But to understand this, we need to first look into what exactly motivates a rapist in doing what he does. From a conclusion drawn from a study done on Kenyan rapists, you'll probably find every possible reason you can think of which would serve as a motivating factor for a rapist. And it can be explained with a simple diagram. A combination of power, motivated by desire for violent domination, anger, motivated by using rape as a tool for punishment, and sex, motivated by the sexual desire and gratification. And this is where the statement, teach men not to rape, fails miserably because it shifts the focus away from taking the necessary precautions which are needed in minimizing these factors, and it instead advocates women not to defend themselves. Listen up, dumbasses. We teach our children not to go along with strangers because there's a chance that the stranger might be a child abductor. Now imagine how stupid it would be if you went along preaching that don't teach children to get abducted, instead teach child abductors not to abduct. That just makes no fucking sense. Now let's get our head in the right track and discuss about various ways you can minimize rape and actually make some sort of a change. A study done in Kenya by having 402 girls of the age 14 to 21 participate in a self-defense program where they were taught verbal and physical self-defense techniques for a period of 10 months concluded as follows. In 10 months after receiving self-defense training, more than half of these girls reported using what they had learned to fend off would-be attackers. The proportion of them who were raped fell from 24.6% in the year before training to 9.2% in the 10-month period after. Which is why it's necessary to include such self-defense training into every school's curriculum so that children across the world will be conditioned throughout their schooling years about how to defend themselves. And ultimately, they'll grow up into physically and mentally strong individuals who live with freedom and worry less about being harmed because they're well equipped to handle such situations. Rape is not a problem which only women face. It's a problem faced by both men and women. It's a human problem and it's impossible to prevent rape when there are some countries which don't even define rape properly. If you take India for example, section 375 of the Indian Penal Code describes rape as something that only a man can do to a woman, which means that there is no room for male victims or female perpetrators. Furthermore, it also dismisses marital rape. Leaving out these large amount of victims who don't fit the mold set by the law prevents these people from coming forward due to the fear of stigma and the lack of legal recourse, which is why it's necessary to have gender-neutral rape laws. The involuntary oral, vaginal or anal penetration of an individual using a body part or an object without their consent, and force to penetrate, where a woman forcibly envelops an individual's body part using a mouth, vagina or anus. Something along the lines of that should be the standardized legal definition of rape across the world, irrespective of whether people think that men cannot be raped or a husband is entitled to have sex with his wife. I mean, for fuck's sake, if a country's legal definition of rape itself portrays only men to be rapists, then no wonder the public are with a fucked mindset. The organization No Means No Worldwide, the same organization which did the study on self-defense, also ran a program where they teach young boys in Kenya about valid consent and standing up against violence. And they were able to achieve significant results where successful interventions against sexual violence went up from 26% to 74%. And rape in schools dropped from 61% to 49%. And with all that said, I think it's necessary to include better sex education which teaches the youth, both boys and girls of the appropriate age, about boundaries, how consent works, identifying red flags in potential assault situations, intervening when witnessing physical and sexual assaults, and also the things where the law might just go against them, like situations where consensual sex might be termed as rape, simply because they can have a clear understanding of how the world works. And even if there's absolute minuscule amount of a chance that a person might not know what is considered as rape according to the law, then it's definitely worth educating people of it. Remember that these studies are done in one country with a small amount of people as the data set, and they were able to achieve positive results. And if these measures were to be globalized, then there should be some sort of a positive effect.
Fuck! What the fuck is it with you?
I'm pretty sure someone went all, but fucking hey, Abster, you're victim blaming. I am not victim blaming. In fact, I'm against the idea of people who blame the victims of rape for the clothes they wear or how they behave. In fact, it's been shown multiple times that rapists specifically choose weak and vulnerable targets as their victims. Furthermore, a common denominator I saw while reading a lot of rape victims' testimonials is that they freeze in fear. This is due to the mere unexpectedness of the situation and the inability to react to such shock. I mean, how can you even blame people for not being able to react in a way for such an unexpected situation? But we should not forget that we are living in a world with a lot of sick people and we need to take the necessary precautions needed to survive. And I know it's impractical and difficult for someone to suddenly take up self-defense classes, which is why the least we could do is to include the preventive measures early into the school system. And I'll wrap this video up with this. Even if you do all that it takes to minimize rape, there's still a chance that you might get raped because there's no way to eliminate rape. You know something which doesn't help at all? Ignorant, vacuous imbeciles going along protesting with their cardboard signs reading "Teach men not to rape." How about we change that a little? Teach people what is rape and teach people to defend themselves. Try protesting with that next time.
I'm Anna Akana. You stay awesome.
And I'm Abster. Prison Break Season 5 is awesome. The true story of how I became an ex-rapist. I was lying on my bed looking up into the stars, discovering the meaning of life, and I heard that voice.
Hello?
Adele?
No, it's your mom, you stupid.
Mom, where you talking from?
Listen up, Abster. Rape is bad, so stop raping people.
And thoughts rushed into my head faster than a prepubescent child jerking off to Zoe Burger.
Fast as fuck, boy.
Thank you, Mom, and Keemstar for curing me of my disease. If it only worked that way, you fucking morons!